We are at a point when the smallest errors in a game's design can crack the entire experience open like an egg. When the barriers are down, amazing discoveries are possible. The types of discoveries that fundamentally shift the way a consumer can view and play the game in question. We're talking about one such case today. I'm Cryptic Jackknife, reminding you again that glitching is art. After 6 long years, in November 2018, the third installment in the Darksiders franchise was released to the world, developed by Gunfire Games and published by THQ Nordic. The series has always been known for versatility, so this time the target was a more methodical hack and slash, bleeding parallels to the Souls franchise from combat and the bosses all the way down to the leveling economy. In this installment, you play as Fury and venture across a ruined Earth to defeat the 7 sins. Not too rough a job to do quickly if you have the speedrunning know-how. However, today we're going much further than mere area skips and scenery parkour. For in the launch version lies one critical oversight that brings the game to its knees and exposes a world of entirely unguarded possibilities, including multiple theoretical beelines directly to the end. All 3 of them approach the game's internal design differently, but all ultimately come down to that single crack in the egg that started it all. Today, we're going to look at 3 different ways you can beat Darksiders 3 from start to finish in a mere 10 minutes with nothing but a single Wrath Shard. Here's how it's done. Once you've skipped the intro cutscenes and crash landed on Earth, the first thing you're going to do is run over to this bus next to the cliff. The roof of this bus has a hidden checkpoint on it that you need to activate. Continue through the area until you get to this Wrath Shard. Once you pick it up, immediately pause and exit back to the main menu. We're going to use a technique found in January this year by Viperzone to store the main menu as you re-enter the game. This you can do by going to the options menu and hitting default and back at the same time. This will display a dummy text box in front of the menu. Loading a game will now leave a secondary main menu active. You can also do this from the load game menu with a select and back combination. Once you load back in, you're going to hit back, then pause twice to cancel the menu, then immediately run into the pit nearby. It's imperative that you despawn while this red save prompt is still on the screen. When the menu storage glitch is used like this, you'll be sent to a default set of coordinates on a predetermined map. As to what exactly determines the map choice within the game remains a mystery, but a few different outcomes have been consistently reproduced. You might recognize the area. It's the same area Fury sat in with Rampage during one of the intro cutscenes. It's theorized that this map is kept in memory by quickly skipping the intro cutscenes, thus storing the area until you respawn or hit a story marker. Now before going further, we're going to look at a crucial trick for these routes, the infinite item jump. This is a trick that's only possible on version 1.0 of the PS4 and Xbox One versions of the game. All subsequent patches fix this technique and the trick has never been possible on any PC version. The first step involves the ability to use items in mid-air and take advantage of vertical momentum to rise high in the air as well as resetting your jump. The second step exploits the ability to change to your Nephilim's Respite healing item instantly by pressing down on the D-pad. By doing this as you use your Wrath Shard, you will never exhaust the actual shard, rather continually deplete a stock of healing items that aren't actually there. Once you pull off the refreshed jump, you'll be able to hit right on the D-pad and go back to the Wrath Shard to continue your ascension. This can be done infinitely, and it's well advised you get used to doing this continually before trying any of these routes. Run up to the nearby rock structure, stand slightly within the shadowy area and point the camera towards the top of the pointed rock in front of you. Begin your ascension. This setup keeps in mind that you're actually moving forward in small increments each time you use an item. You'll soon hit this invisible ceiling. Once this happens, do a double jump forward and then do another item jump. If everything lines up properly, you should see the saving red orb prompt. Now land on the structure you just bonked your head on, wait a moment, and then leap off to be despawned. In yet another state of confusion, you'll be left with another long black screen. However, eventually it will come to its senses, and realize the checkpoint you hit was a Maker's Forge flag. This is possible because the main city area is still internally loaded, but the scenery itself is the error. Believe it or not, we're more than halfway through the run in about 2 minutes and 40 seconds. If you've played Darksiders 3 before, you might know that this platform is where the warp to the game's final boss appears. We're gonna get to that warp trigger by any means necessary. This final step will truly test that control you've been honing over the infinite item jumps. The first point of order is getting over to this building and hooking around the left side of the exterior wall. This is to ensure that the Maker's Forge scene is properly loaded, which we need. Once around the building, sink down to this section and ease yourself under the scenery. Staying cautiously aware that any real obstruction can spell disaster for the flow of your item jumping. Ascend towards the top of the tree, making sure you aren't gaining too much height, thus popping back through the floor in bounds. Line up just right under the central platform and you will find your warp trigger. We aren't done with the tricks yet. About 2 full item jumps height from the ground of the arena lies another trigger. Wait, what just happened? Well, that trigger was the ending of the game itself. 0 kills means 0 kills. The best time for this route is by FlattyWoStock on Twitch with a 356, which I'll link in the description below. In lieu of the console launch version's unbelievably long loading times, I sought to find another way. Surprisingly enough, I found it in a city traversal that treks half the city in the most direct way possible. After getting the Wrath Shard, same as last time, make your way up to this platform and then item jump over the top of the invisible wall in front of it. Jumping off the roof on the other side, do another 2 jumps to make it over yet another invisible wall. Run down to the lower area and continue until you get to this area on the far side of the street. Do an item jump to get up, then run through the cave to load the next area. It's important that we keep the areas loading properly so we can spawn the objects and triggers that we want. Do 2 item jumps to get up to this log, then run and jump around the corner to get onto this branch. Jump through the debris and come off the corner of the building, starting an item jump chain towards the corner of the skyscraper next door. Unfortunately, we need to do this to keep things properly loaded to activate the final boss warp. You can see from the stairs in the distance loading just before we make our way over the gap that you need to come this far to do that. Do 1 more item jump and we are back in sync with the menu storage route, but miraculously about 10 to 15 seconds have been saved just by avoiding the long loading screens. The current best time as of now is my own run of 3:40, that again you will find linked below. So you remember how I said the intro cutscenes being skipped allows the area to remain in memory? What makes me believe that even more is the fact that if you look closely off the ledge, the council chamber, that very arena where you fight the final boss, is also loaded as it appears in the cutscene after the one with Rampage. Great, let's do an infinite item jump to get over there, I thought to myself. Little did I know how deceiving the distance was. After an immense 8-minute straight of chaining item jumps, it is possible to make it all the way over. As soon as you land, the state that the final boss fights you in is immediately loaded. Rise to the ending trigger and you can still complete the game in less than 10 minutes. Just make sure you have confidence in your item jumps first. And those are the glitches. And that's another episode of Glitching as Art done. Did it a bit differently this time, just feeling about as you do with new ideas. Much love out to Flatty, the runner of the 356 link below, and Andy as well, the top PC player for Darksiders 3. They've helped a lot in clarifying a few things as I came back to this game to best make sure I'm not feeding people any wrong information. If you want to check out stuff possible on the PC version of the game, I would suggest giving Andy's runs a look. Always great to see people eager to help others understand their prime speed games. Maybe that'll rub off on some of you, maybe. For now, as usual, leave feedback, check out glitchingasart.com, and come back sometime for more. Thanks for watching.